everybody, with our GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Warhammer 40,000 Crusade Nachmund Gauntlet, the long-awaited campaign system for Warhammer 40k, which we've been kind of waiting for since the launch 10th edition. We got the Leviathan version in the rulebook, but this bad mamma jamma comes with a whole new thing for us to do piracy in the Nachmund Gauntlet. If you're not super up on current Warhammer 40,000 lore, the Nachmund Gauntlet is kind of like a navigatable current in the Cicatrix Maledictorum. So basically, Imperium Nihilus and Imperium Primus, which is the two halves of the Imperium that get split in half by this new Eye of Terror that like rips open half the galaxy, has like one sort of path through it for the warp. And it's full of pirates and weirdos and all kinds of cool stuff. So this right here is a sort of like a story-driven campaign system with our protagonists being the Sisters of Battle and the Black Legion. I'll show you it's the Night Lords, I guess. It's the Night Lords. So I shouldn't say Black Legion. It's the Night Lords at the behest of the Black Legion. Led by it's kind of the Black Legion. I don't know. It's the Black Legion Raptor Lord special character who's like leading this whole thing. And this is to try to stop it. So the Sanctus Wall is basically a huge like faith-based imperial defense system in the Choric system. And yeah, and the storyline is basically that they're holding the line against these Chaos Space Marines. And we get the story of how that goes and the people involved. So like the Ministorum, the War of Faith Command. It's led by Canon Superior Junith Arita? I don't know, these made up names. From the Martyred Lady. A bunch of other sort of secondary characters as well. And of course the Living Saint Celestine arrives at one point as well. And then the Invaders of the Gauntlet is led by the Black Legion and the Night Lords. And so the Harkon Willowclaimer is kind of the leader of the whole thing. Celestine almost kills him at one point, but then has to go take off to save a bunch of sisters. And the Night Lords are kind of the secondary protagonist, but it's the theme of Harkon, where he's a raptor leader, kind of being fed into by the Night Lords stuff. So they're working as the Night Lords do, sort of as like cynical mercenaries for the Black Legion, doing their murder thing that they do, being Space Marine versions of the Predator. We have Sanguinary here, which is the big like moon around this planet. And then we have all of the different warlords that are fighting on it. So like I said, Harkon Willowclaimer, Zarin Nethtar, who is the Chain Flare, he's the Night Lord's character. Torian Commodar, the Davarar's Talon. He is a vicious fallen noble of the renegade house Mandracore. Commander has long called his ruler was the High King and High Queen to strike out from their homeworld of Derivar and take the worlds of the Nachmund Gauntlet. So he's like an imperial trader, basically, who leads like a household of Chaos Knights. So it's like a fallen knights household, which is, they're a little like House Divine is in the Horus Heresy. If you've read any of the Horus Heresy books involving them, where like they just think they're better than the Imperium. Junith Arita, leading the sort of like defense with Erasmus Carta Volnus, Ordo Malleus Inquisitor, and Arvin Nardreth, the Master of the Third. So it's nice. You kind of get one, miniature-driven special character leading it. The other ones are sort of unique to this campaign, which I think is kind of cool. And the Planet Killer's back. Oh man, this is a blast from the past. If you haven't seen the Planet Killer, it's basically a huge railgun that flies and was the super secret death weapon from the Gothic War, which is one of the relic sort of like weapons from the Dark Age technology that weren't supposed to ever come back, that Abaddon gets his hands on and starts blowing up planets with. So effectively, it's the the Warhammer 40,000 version of the Death Star. And is it's insane. It fires in Battlefield Gothic terms. You ever played Battlefield Gothic? It fires a Nova Cannon template that moves. So if you're in front of the ship, you get hit by a Nova Cannon, and it's bad. So you get a secondary, you get the map of this, but you actually get a huge poster map as well of the Urbano Sprawl Alpha, which is part of the defensive line that the Imperium is covering, and you get the useful data on here for tracking the campaign as you play through it and like what parts get taken. So the Emperor's Voice Grand Batteries, the big defense guns. Acheronor Spaceport is like your way off the planet. The Perfectus Bastion is held by the Imperium, and the Tower of Murmuration is basically I think it's like a psychic void battery or like a prayer, sort of like chorister place that's being defended by the Imperium as well. Destroy the Invasion. and of course the defense by the Imperium. It's about to fall, and so we get our Crusade rules from here on in. So what's nice about this is we get some more advanced Crusade rules for playing your Order of Battle. When you make a Crusade card, it's pretty similar to the 9th edition version of Crusade. You list all of the units that are part of your force. Any other important units, you can add or remove units from your Order of Battle at any time. Each unit must have a Crusade card. Units cannot be changed once added to your Order of Battle, so you have to like define what their gear is and stuff like that. Supply used, the combined point values of all the units in the Crusade force. Your supply limit, which starts at 1,000 points. So what's nice about Crusade, it's a nice way to take like a combat patrol and a special character and then play some linked battles as you build it up to like a full-size force. It does feel like what Games Workshop's doing here is trying to get a legitimized way of playing like midpoint Warhammer 40,000 games. Because right now, 2001 games of Warhammer 40k are on a really high shelf, like both financially and time investment wise. It feels like between Kill Team this and then like Tournament 40k, this is supposed to be like that middle ground where if you're starting an army, you can play kind of pick up Warhammer, and as you're like building and collecting and painting it, have something to do in the middle range. And I think it also just exists so that if you want to play more than a kill team, but less than a full version of Warhammer 40k, and I sit firmly in this, I don't want to spend 4 hours playing a 40k game where I play on like a table with some circles on it and 6 corners of terrain and some trees. You get a sort of an opportunity to do that and have the games matter in between and carry over some results. Then your battle tally, the number of battles you played with your Crusade force, requisition points, which you start at 5, and they can be spent to use requisitions. Things like adding new troops, adding new things to your Order of Battle, taking off battle wounds, battle scars, and stuff like that. And it's pretty similar to the old way of doing it. So increase your supply limit. This increases your Crusade's force supply limit by 200 points. So this is one where like you go from 1,000 to 1,200, 1,200 to 1,400. You can spend RP to do that. Renowned heroes. You can add heroes and characters to your army. When you start a Crusade force, you can purchase the requisition for the first time you had a character unit to your Order of Battle. After that point, you can purchase this requisition each time you unit from Order of Battle gains a rank. In either case, you cannot select an epic hero because you get no special characters. Or a unit that has either the Disgraced or Mark of Shame battle scars. And then you can get an enhancement for them. So like basically what happens is at the beginning, you can buy enhancements to your characters. So if you want to give them like a relic or like some piece of like war gear or something like that, you can do it costing RP. And then your RP will replenish between games. But you can't do it to people who are in the bad, like they've fallen out of favor with the command. Legendary veterans, purchase this requisition when a unit from your Order of Battle reaches 30 XP, so they max out. Unit's experience total is no longer limited to a maximum of 30. Can now be promoted from above battle hardened. In addition, the maximum number of battle honors they can get is increased to 6. So if you play a long campaign and one of your heroes caps out, you can spend 3 requisition points to get them back up. Rearm, resupply, you can change out your loadouts on your units. Repair and recuperate, you can take out battle scars. And fresh recruits, you can increase the size of a unit. Defines our Crusade cards. And then, yeah, if you're dead at the end of the game, there is some after-action stuff for your units in Warhammer 40k. So you set up your 1,000-point Order of Battle, you get all your unit cards filled out, you play your first game, you got to keep track of the units that die, because when you do, you roll on this table to see what happens. At the end of each Crusade battle, you must take an out-of-action test. On a 2+, test is passed, nothing's happened. So, like, the squad reforms, they, crawl back to camp or whatever, they get some fresh recruits for anyone who's actually killed. On a 1, however, you must now choose one of the following unit things. Either a devastating blow. You can only select this result if you have 1 or more battle honors. Select one of each of the unit's battle honors and remove it. So basically, like, the guy in that squad who knew the special veteran skill that made them extra cool, well, he died. So that guy's gone. Or they can get a battle scar, and battle scars are these 6 things down here that you roll for. And they can be terrible. Like crippling damage, this unit cannot advance, and you have to make -1 from their moves. So like they're all so tired and battle shocked they can't run, then they have a movement reduction. Battle weary, each time you take a battle shock test, leadership or desperate escape out of action, you're -1 from the test. You're giving up. You're like, whatever, capture us, kill us, we don't care anymore. Fatigued, you're -1 objective control, and you never get a charge bonus. Disgraced, you can't be marked for greatness, and you can't use any stratagems. Mark of Shame, this unit cannot form an attached unit and is effectively is unaffected by the aura abilities of friendly units and cannot be marked for greatness. So like characters can't be attached to things. And then deep scars, each time that a critical hit scored against this unit, that attack automatically wounds. So 6 to hit against your own unit wound automatically. And that's just to keep track of on your cards. So again, when you play this game, you're gonna have like 1,000 points-ish. You'll probably have between 5 and 8 units in a 1,000-point army. It's not that much to keep track of Battlescar-wise. And again, you can rest and recuperate. You can buy them off eventually as well with RP. And then Battle Honors. Once a character gets a Battle Honor, you can start getting experience, and so can your units. If a unit's gained enough experience points before the next battle, they'll earn a promotion. So at 0 to 5, you're battle ready. It's what you start at. At 6 to 15, you become blooded. At 16 to 30, you become battle hardened. 31 to 50, heroic, and 51 plus legendary. Now, this is actually where some of this extra stuff comes in. So for instance, in the new Eldar Codex, you're going to get an entire section on your Crusade agendas and additional bonuses that you can have over the course of a campaign, including additional battle honors that you can earn. And battle traits. So for like the Eldari Path, Path of the Seer, Path of Command, Path of the Warrior, they can earn additional things, and they can also do their own requisitions. And so this stuff is kind of final. Like the Leviathan campaign let you use it, but having like a full unlocked, this also happened in Age of Sigmar. You got all these additional like, it was called the Crucible of something. The Forge of the Crucible of Making a Hero or whatever. This is kind of all unlocked in here because now you can use all of it. You earn experience points in the following way. You survive a battle, yay! So you didn't somehow die. Death dealers, you get an XP for every 3rd enemy unit you destroy. And then marked for greatness, at the end of the battle, you can select one of your units to get 3 XP. So basically it's like a commendation. And there's extra ways of doing it too. You can often find agendas and stuff, like special sub-objectives that you can do over the course of a game that will earn you extra experience if the unit completes them. So typically you get between 2 and 5 experience, which will almost let you go up a level. The first time you have to get to 6, so usually your second game stuff starts going up. And then combat tallies, units Crusade card contains a special record sheet for combat tallies. Often that's used for keeping track of like death dealers, because it carries over every 3rd unit you destroy over the course of a game. And there's some tallies you need to do for certain agendas and stuff that you have to keep track of as well. So some of the core like things that aren't in the codexes for like your extra abilities, like your weapon mods. So you can have like units gain things like brutal, you get +1 strength, armor piercing, improve your weapons AP by 1. Finely balanced, your BS or weapon skill goes up by 1. Masterworked, add +1 to its damage. Heirloom, add 1 to its attacks. And precise, every critical wound scored is now precision. And these are handy. If you gain a battle honor, you can be a unit or a character to do it. And then relics are additional things that you can find over the course of a campaign. But you have to be of a certain rank to carry them. They're not just going to give a relic to some jobber commissar, right, or some like sister superior. They got to actually be like a captain or a canonist or something like that. So an artificer relic is available to anybody, but an antiquity relic can only be a heroic or legendary character, and legendary relics can only go to legendary people. And those are the core rules for Crusade. Again, reprinted from what was in the Leviathan set, but nice that it's here as well. And then the Sanguinarian War is the actual like Gauntlet campaign. So this is the specific rules like Leviathan for playing in this place. It steals a bit from Necromunda, and then it wants you to have a campaign master, and it's played in a series of turns. There's strategic sites. You're going to earn bonuses for winning victories in those places, and the forces abilities will change depending upon who's holding what. So the different, like the spaceport, you can see there's the Guardians, the Despoilers, and the Marauders. So Guardians are the Imperium, Despoilers are Chaos, Marauders would be any unaligned chapter. So if you want to play this campaign with like Orcs or Tau or Eldar, they can take part too, and they get their own like damage track basically for the campaign. It's played in phases. The strategic goals are, of course, the different areas on the map. And then you get battle points. Each time a player is fought, the Alliance gains a number of battle points based on the size of the game. So the bigger the game, the more points you win. So an incursion, a win will get you 2, a strike force 3, an onslaught 4. You'll still get 1 for a loss. And you, after each battle, each player must assign all the battle points they have from that battle to one of the 4 strategic sites of Sanguinarian. Each player must inform the campaign master of their choice, strategic site, and how many battle points they're putting there. So basically, when you play your game, typically you and your opponent will agree on one of the 4 sites to be playing in, and then you'll put them in. It'll push like up and down. The first alliance who reaches level 3, securing position, may take control of the district. That district remains under the alliance's control until another allegiance has greater control level over the course of the campaign. So like it's a race to 3 where you get to the flag, and then you unlock that area's abilities, and then people can take it back by overtaking you. At the end of the campaign, after all alliances have received their rewards at the end of the campaign phase 3, the campaign's over. The alliance with the most CVPs takes control of Sanguiterra's capital city and is crowned the victor. There's a tie for the most CVPs, and one of the tied alliances controls most strategic sites. Then tied alliance, the alliance rests control of the Urbano Sprawl Alpha and is the victor. So there's like 2 tie breaks, basically. Each of the phases, the first place is the person with more battle points. They get +2 control level. Second most battle points, +1 control level. Third place battle points, +2. And then it goes into the phases, becomes more important. So the person with the first most battle points gets 3. And the battle points total, of course, is going to be for the whole campaign across all the different areas for the Urbano Sprawl. Because you invade the different areas. And that's it. And so whoever has control of the city basically at the end is going to have the overall victory alliance-wise. So you want to have probably 3 players at least, because then you at least represent all the different factions, but you could have more, and then you're just playing more games. So phase 1, there's different strategic goals. Phase 2, there's different strategic goals, and they're going to give you bonuses. So, for instance, counter strategies in phase 1, your alliance has gained more SAP than one of your more alliances. This reward is claimed after all other alliances have claimed their rewards for strategic goals. Alliance gains +1 control level in each strategic site that one or more opposing alliances have increased their control level over this campaign. So you like catch up basically, as long as you're doing your little agendas. In phase 2, it could be things like raid supply lines. Select one strategic site. Your alliance has assigned more SAP to that strategic site than each other alliance, but your alliance's control level is not increased in the strategic site. All other alliances lose a control level. So you basically put a bunch of points in there, but you didn't catch up to them. They're still ahead of you. You can choose to play raid supply lines, and then the reward is they get -1 control level. And then phase 3, it can be things like tip the scales. Select one strategic site. Your alliance has assigned more SAP to the strategic site than one or more of their other alliances. Your alliance gets +1 control level on all strategic sites where you have the same control level as one or more alliances. So basically, if you take one position, but you're tied in other ones, the tied ones tip over and gotta gain a control level because you went all in on one area. And then we get Mighty Champions. So in the Nachmund Gauntlet campaign, players should inform the campaign master whether an epic hero unit is added to their Crusade force. So it allows you to use things like Junith and Harkon in your army. The campaign master then assigns one of the following Crusade abilities to that epic hero in that unit that best represents its lore and background. For every epic hero unit in a player's Crusade force, that player must increase their Crusade point total by 1. If an epic hero contains 2 or more epic hero models, the campaign master should select 1 to have the Crusade ability. So if it's I'm trying to think of ones that would actually be 2 miniatures. A lot of times the miniatures are tokens. Marshall Helbrecht, I can't remember if his Cenobite servitors are Grimaldus has Cenobite servitors. I can't remember who else. Like the Watcher for Azrael is just like a token. Anyway, basically only the 1 character would get it. I get things like Restorative Champions. If your Crusade army includes 1 or more epic hero models with this Crusade ability, during the update Crusade card step, you can reroll failed out of action tests for your Crusade army. Cool. And that's everybody. He's basically just like a super medic. Or Inspirational Champions. While an epic hero model with this Crusade ability is leading a unit, you can ignore any or all battle scars that your bodyguard unit has. So if he joins a unit, they just lose their battle scars. And then your cool badges. These are just like the winning campaign things that at the end of the campaign, you'll get assigned these new battle traits. And these significantly expand what's available. So monsters and vehicles can have things like reinforced armor, where they get each time an attack with a damage characteristic of 1 is allocated to this model, its AP goes down. Or Behemoth, they get +2 wounds. Infantry units can get Strike Masters, and the declare battle formation step, you can spend 1 requisition point. If you do so, this unit can deep strike. And each time this unit performs a surgical deep strike, add 1 to its deep strike test. Mounted units can get stuff, beasts, jump pack units, and then any unit can have things like drop zone veterans. Each time this unit's set up in the battlefield using the deep strike ability until the end of the turn, each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll hit rolls of 1 and reroll wound rolls of 1. Each time this unit performs a surgical deep strike, you can roll the deep strike test. And then cool relics for the actual Crusade area, and they're all leveled, right? So the Artificer relics are the basic ones, then Antiquity, and then Legendary relics. So like a Crusade relic could be like an Auto Medicae to get feel no pain on your unit. An Antiquity one could be something like a Displacer Field, which I love, where you put the guy in Strategic Reserve. That's an old 2nd edition thing. And then legendaries, things like the Gloaming Mantle, which gives you Lone Operative and Stealth. And while Bearer is leading a unit, models in that unit have Stealth as well. And that it can only be selected as a target if they're within 18 of the enemy. And then the different battles. So this is going to give you the actual like missions to play through and your mission structure. Get your mission record sheet. Rules for tactical reserves and surgical deep strike. And how it applies to the battlefield. Different blessings for the Crusade. For the good guy sides. Different agendas you can do. So the agendas are ways you can earn extra things to get your SAPs. Each time a model from this unit, like cut off the head. Each time a model from your Crusade army destroys an enemy character, your model gains 2 XP. Each time a model from your Crusade army destroys an enemy warlord or epic hero, you get an additional 2 XP. So like if you're going to use this agenda in a game, then you get those extra things. At the end of the battle, if the enemy warlord model is destroyed, you get an SAP. So you get your special points on top of that. Strike and Purge. Each time a unit from your Crusade army with a deep strike ability destroys an enemy unit, that unit gains an XP. Each time a unit from your Crusade army with a deep strike ability destroys an enemy unit, in the same turn that deep strike, it gets 2 XP instead. A unit can't get more than 3 XP from this for the battle. And this is just great ways to like level up your units. And then you get special agendas for like the Imperial defenders and the attackers. So if you're the defender, you can have things like repel the foe. Each time a unit from your Crusade army destroys an enemy unit that was from your opponent's reinforcement waves, that unit gains an XP, and a unit cannot gain more than 3 XP per battle from the agenda. At the end of the battle, if all the units of at least one of your opponent's reserve reinforcement waves had been destroyed, you gain an SAP. And then the missions. So these are all special missions based upon the actual story, and they're all attacker defender. So what I love about this is you get asymmetrical missions like a final stand, or saboteurs, where you have like a picket line basically, and the attackers are going to try and blow stuff up. Beachhead offensive, right, where you're arriving into like a defended position. Or the Gauntlet, where you're running through like a wall of defenders. And then Crusade cards, and that's it. So Crusade Nachmund Gauntlet. Man, I love when Workshop makes stuff like this because this is a great, if you have like a gaming group of 40K players, you don't necessarily like going to tournaments, but you like to get together once a month and play games. This is a great reason to have a monthly like game day where you play like 1 or 2 games, you upgrade your campaign sheets, you recruit 200 points more forces, you go away for a month, you build a unit, and you paint it. If you're looking to paint a new 40K army this year over the course of the year, something like Crusade Nachmund Gauntlet just gives you a great, like, it's basically playing fantasy football, right? You're keeping track of your army, you're seeing the results, you're slowly grinding away at the league that you're playing over the course of the 3 different phases of the campaign. And then you get to take control of the city or not. Workshop, they need to make more of these and not just 1 per edition. They need to do 1 of these a year. Because I think that if you kick off the year with this, which they're doing this year in February, I do think this the kind of thing should come out in January and should coincide with New Year, New Army. And then you run it till the end of the year and you have a big celebration at the end of the year with like an Armies on Parade style thing of like everybody that played the Crusade this year. I'm just trying to free market for you here, guys. Just steal the idea. I don't care. That would be a thing that people would participate in. It's a reason to play your at-home games. It's a reason to not take the tournament-y style gaming too seriously. And it drives the story ahead. It's participatory, and I think it's a good hobby motivator for people. And like the protagonists of this are fine. Like it's Battle Sisters and Black Legion / Night Lords, I think is cool. The story is compelling. It's a cool like attacker defender thing. I do think they could tie their various 40K properties together slightly better. Like, I don't know why Volkus and the Kill Team thing wasn't tied to this directly. It would just let you play 40K in different scales. You know what I mean? And mesh it a little bit better. But overall, I think it's a good addition to 40K. It's the kind of thing I'd like to do. I have friends who are avid 40K fans who would definitely do this with me once a month. And I think it's the kind of thing we're going to do this year once a month because I need to paint a new 40K army. I haven't painted anything since the Ultramarines for 40K. That's a long time ago now. So yeah. Tell me in the comments what we should do for Crusade here on the channel because Jay's got a Fallen Dark Angel army that is clearly Chaos, which would be perfect for this. I can do an Imperial army. Nick's got a Tau army. Like we got options. So thanks for workshops in this long as a complimentary review copy, and you guys for watching. We'll see you for more GMG reviews in the future. Thought I'm Ash. We're gonna